So I've got a bit of a philosophical one for you today. And the topic that I want to talk about is about averages. So in life, I know for me and for a lot of my friends, we always try to achieve the extraordinary. And to do extraordinary things, you have to do things that are by definition different from the ordinary. And I think the easiest way to do it is to be surrounded by people where the bars of their expectations are different than the standard society that you grew up in or that is considered normal. My first experience of this was my main experience of this was when doing an Ironman. I was comparing myself to a friend of mine I went to school with who qualified for GB triathlon, and his qualifying run, 10k run, after a bike and a swim, was 29 minutes and 58 seconds. To put that into context, that's insane. Like, most people who start running, the ordinary person who does the couch to 5k and starts running, like a 30-minute 5k is pretty good. And this guy is doing a 30-minute 10k, like twice as fast. And then you move into realms like business, where Jeff Bezos said one of the reasons he loves it so much is because, I'm paraphrasing here, but in baseball, if you hit a home run, the most you can get in baseball is 4 runs, right? If there's everyone on the plates are full and you run around as well, you get 4 runs. But in business, sometimes you can hit a home run and you can hit 1,000 runs. And there's not many other disciplines you can do that in. And so it's a really interesting game to play in because there's not many other opportunities for you to have such leverage. But then it's also tough because you might play, you're then, in my opinion, playing on a multiplier. So if you guys know what CFDs, contract for difference, is, it's where you are trade on the stock exchange and things like that with a multiplier. So let's say you put some money into Tesla, they go up 1%. If you had a 10 multiplier on that, your investment would go up 10%. Or if it went up 10%, yours would go up 100%. But the thing is, you also lose the same amount. So if it went down 1%, you go down 10%. You're playing life on a multiplier, and I feel like that's what business does. Anyway, what's my purpose of talking about all of this? Well, there's a discussion that I have a lot on sales calls where so many parents and students come to us because they're not ordinary, and they have these excuses as to what's different about them, why their situation is unique. The things we often hear are like, oh, my short-term to long-term memory doesn't work very well. I have ADHD, I'm not good at this, or I have a unique circumstance of that. And I've got 2 points to say on this, on that. Like, the first hand, okay, let's go through and say you're right. Okay, you're right. Great, you've now got an excuse as to why you failed. So what? Do you want the excuse or do you want the outcome? And if you fail, then everyone will remember you as, oh yeah, he had an excuse. Like, no one cares. But if you succeed, you did it despite. And the second part of this that is really difficult to remember sometimes is that by definition, you are average. On average, you are average at everything. And there are some areas of life where you might have done something extraordinary, and you feel like that I'm not average in this area, therefore I'm not average in every area. But that's just fundamentally incorrect. everyone thinks they are above average driver. But you can't be. If everyone is above average, no one is. Because that's the new average. And so this is kind of what I was getting at earlier. If you can be surrounded by people where the bar is naturally higher, your average then shifts to something extraordinary. And it makes it much easier for you to succeed. But I think it's also then challenging if you don't. And so you hear a lot of people, or you might have heard of this, being called like a big fish in a pond, or the biggest fish in a small pond. Or would you rather be, a small fish in an ocean? And it's a really interesting thought. I'm just going off on a... So my video just cut out and I finished the rest of this and the second half is gone. But my takeaways from my thoughts and continual discussions after this today are that the existence that we all feel on a day-to-day basis, I believe, is fundamentally the same person to person. But the absolute values will change depending on the group and the society that you're mixing with. And so if you want to achieve more, be surrounded by those doing it in whatever area that may be. But also know on days that are great or on days that are hard, know that you're not alone and you're not the only one experiencing it, because everyone is average. And I think that's my takeaway for today, is know that you're not alone and be humble in the fact that you are average and that what anyone else is able to do, we all can. Those are my thoughts for the day. All right, catch you guys tomorrow.